Call of Duty Warzone added a new feature into their battle royale, which is the Gulag. If you don't know what the Gulag is, when you die, you get to pretty much get a second chance at life in Warzone. And so when you die, you will be sent to the Gulag, and then you will be randomly matched up with another player who has recently died. Then you and that opponent will go into a 1v1, and whoever wins that 1v1 will be sent back into the match. If you lose that 1v1, your teammates will have to buy you back. And so it is very crucial to win these 1v1s. And so I want to share from my experience and what I've learned from streamers and pro players on what the best things to do to win more 1v1s in the Gulag. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I upload tips and tricks, gameplays, how-tos, and pretty much anything that's going to help you improve your skill in Call of Duty. So if you guys are interested in that type of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm on the road to 300, and I want to set a like goal of, let's say 10 likes. I usually do 5, but let's say 10 likes. If I can get 10 likes, that would be awesome. Really helps me out. And so this video is kind of going to be aligned like this. I'm going to have all my tips first, and then after I'm going to go over a couple strategies that are going to help you win the Gulag fights. But anyways, let's get right into it. And so in the Gulag, each round lasts for about 40 seconds, and then it'll go into overtime, which lasts 15 seconds. If the round goes into overtime and nobody kills each other or captures a flag by the time overtime is over, whichever player that has the most health will win that match. If you guys have the same amount of health, then you will be both sent back into the match. Okay, the first tip I have for you is to not rush. Just kind of stay back a little bit, kind of play it out. There's no need to rush. I see a lot of my opponents, they're always rushing towards me, and then I just stay back a little bit. I don't like sit my ass way back in the spawn, but I'll push up a little bit, but I'm not going to push past mid. And I always kind of just knock them down because they're running, I'm ADSing. I don't really have to worry about my ADS, the fire speed. The second tip I have for you is to know the guns you are using. All the guns you're using are set classes. They don't really add any classes into the Gulag, and so it's going to be certain guns, and so you'll get used to those guns. And the second tip, if the flag pops up, I usually just rush the flag. Because the flag, first of all, when you rush onto it, if you've taken any damage, right when you hit that flag, you're going to gain 100 health. And so if you have less health than your enemy, you want to make sure you hop onto that flag. And it's only going to take like 3 seconds to capture. And so most of the time, your enemies aren't going to be able to like react in time to go push you on the flag. Like 90% of the time, I always win these if I push the flag. Just make sure you capture that flag when it pops up if the time is right. My third tip for you guys is to spray paint your enemies in the beginning of the match. If you don't have any teammates down in the Gulag where you can help them, just spend your time spray paint all the enemies you see, because you don't know who you're going to get paired up with. And when you spray paint your enemies, that spray paint stays on them when they go into the Gulag. It's a little dark in the Gulag, and this is just a little bit of extra advantage that you will have over them because you can just see them a little bit better. My fourth tip is to use your lethals and tacticals. I see so many Call of Duty noobs when they go into the Gulag, they don't even use their lethals or tacticals. I'm like, just at least throw one, because if you throw one, maybe it will kill them, but if you don't throw them, it's not going to kill them. So just make sure you always are throwing your lethals and tacticals. If you can do it with a purpose, that would be better. Try to focus on using your lethals and tacticals as a purpose, but if you don't know what to do with them, just throw them up in the air. Hopefully it hits them. My fifth tip is to be cautious of your own sounds, like your footsteps, what your gun sounds like when you reload it or when you aim in. Be cautious of those sounds because your enemy can hear every sound that you make, and vice versa. Listen to what your enemy is doing. You can hear them reload their gun. You can hear them walk around. If you want, you can sit against the wall. Listen to them. If you know that they're close to you, then you just push out and kill them. And so just be cautious of the sounds that you make. A way to conceal your sounds is to aim in and walk. That will conceal your footsteps, not completely, but a little bit. Or if you crouch and walk, or if you aim in and crouch. So when you're aiming in or you're crouching, that's going to suppress those footsteps. This next tip is to have good movement. Having good movement is everything. If you know someone's around the corner, make sure you do a jump or slide around the corner. Don't just run out there because they're expecting that. So if you do a jump or a slide, they're not going to expect that. What I like to do is like a slide cancel. If you guys want to see a video on how to slide cancel, let me know in the comments. I will make one. Or if your enemy is shooting at you, do some zigzags. And another tip in the movement is just to be unpredictable. Move like where they can't predict you where you're going to be going. If you're running around, just do some slides and some jumps. This next tip is if your teammates are in the Gulag with you, they can spectate you and watch you fight. So when they're watching you fight, make sure they do some callouts, but in your perspective. So they see an enemy pushing your left side, make sure they don't say like right side when it's actually the left side. Make sure they're doing callouts in your perspective, but when they're watching, just have them do callouts. It's going to help you out a lot. You're going to know exactly where your enemy is. And for this tip, it is going to be pay attention to your flanks. Don't just watch one side for too long. I see a lot of people where they just hold down the iron sights on one side and they don't move, and they don't take in consideration that the enemy can be on any other part of the map. If you're watching an area, don't watch it for too long, or if you're watching one side, make sure you can see the other side on your screen. The PC players out there, you can change your FOV. Controller players, you can't do that. I wish you could. On PC, just increase your FOV so you can see more of your flanks. This will really give you an advantage over the other player. And this last tip, a lot of players don't realize this, but if the timer runs out and the match goes into overtime and you hop on the flag, your health will regenerate. So make sure if you're losing that 1v1, hop on that flag and your health will go back to 100. Then you will actually have a chance against that enemy. And a tip within capturing the flag is to, when the flag pops up, run onto the flag and then jump off it. And then your opponent is going to rush the flag thinking you're on it, but then you're actually not on it. And then you can kill them from a different angle. And now for the strategy portion, the first one I have is to rush mid and stay behind the wall behind the flag. So there's going to be like a circle and it has like 2 walls with 2 gaps. And so just rush mid and just crouch behind that wall and just listen for the enemy to push a certain side. You can hear which side of the map they're walking to. And so if they're walking to the right side, you're going to want to aim in on the right side, or if they're pushing on the left side, you're going to want to aim on the left side. And so when you push this mid area, you kind of get close enough to be able to hear them and know their movements. And so doing this just kind of usually gives you the win because you'll know exactly where they're at. This next strategy I have is my favorite because I'm not really sitting as much. I'm kind of moving around a little bit more. You actually can see your enemy where they're facing. You can see like an outline. When the game starts, that outline goes away. Most players are just going to face a certain side and then rush that side. And so you actually can see which side they're facing. Always face the right side, and then when the game starts, I'll immediately turn to my left. I'll rush that side, and then I will just ADS and I'll watch that left flank. If I don't see them in like a couple seconds, I will throw my stun to the right side. If I stun them, which it usually will, I will go rush them in like an unpredictable way, or I'll throw a C4. So this tactic doesn't always work, but usually does. You don't see them on the left side, they're going to be on that right side. And so these are all my tips and tricks and strategies on how to do better in the Gulag. If any of these tips did help you, please let me know in the comments. I will be very happy to hear that if any of these tips helped you. And don't forget to hit that like button and make sure you subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you can get a notification whenever I upload. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.